Greetings and welcome to the Beyond the Care podcast with Dr. Paula. I'm your host, Dr. Paula, and I welcome you to this podcast, which will highlight the experiences, the challenges, the journey of being a caregiver, and arm you with information, resources, and tools to help you along your journey. I hope that something you hear today resonates with you. Today, I'll be interviewing Dr. Janelle Hall, who will share her experience as a caregiver and also as a volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome, Dr. Hall. Today, I have the pleasure to interview Dr. Janelle Hall. Hello, Dr. Hall.
Hello, good morning, Dr. Paula.
Good morning. So let me read a little bit about your background. Dr. Janelle C. Hall is a visionary leader, author, and change maker rooted in Passaic, New Jersey, where she proudly calls home. As CEO of the United Passaic Organization, she champions self-sufficiency and holistic support for families. Armed with a PhD in public policy and deep expertise in nonprofit leadership, Dr. Hall is also the founder of Beyond Inspired LLC and host of Worth Your Salt podcast. Her service spans civic, academic, and advocacy roles, including leadership within Delta Sigma Theta sorority, the NAACP, and Passaic Rotary International Club. A decorated public servant and proud mother of four, she blends policy and passion to create lasting impact. Again, welcome, Dr. Hall. I'm so excited to have you on the Beyond the Care podcast today.
Thank you for this esteemed honor.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Dr. Hall, when I first kind of met you, we knew each other, we were in circles, but when I heard a little bit about your story about you being a caregiver, it resonated with me because it sounded a little bit like my story. So tell the audience about your caregiving journey, how you became a caregiver, and a little bit about your story.
Yes. Again, thank you, Dr. Paula, for being a part of this podcast, Beyond the Care. It means so much to me to share my story and journey. I'm a daughter of an immigrant woman named Eslyn Merle Solomon from the great country of Trinidad and Tobago. She came here with a dream for a betterment for her children. With that, she worked her way up and became a LPN nurse, and she made sure she provided for her family. I am the baby of three children for my mom. And she worked so hard and diligently and just to make sure we had a home, a roof over our head. With that, forging ahead, she started to develop some behaviors and things started to happen with her workplace, mood changes, swings, forgetting meds and things of that nature. Because remember, I said she's LPN. She was in charge of providing meds to patients, and the job was calling and saying, Eslyn is, there's some things going on with her. We're not sure. She has these erratic behaviors. She's getting upset. She's messing up with the meds, like I just mentioned. So we monitor it. And at that time, also my dad, who's also an immigrant from Jamaica, he took her to the doctor and they performed and said she had early onset of Alzheimer's, dementia. So with that, she continued to work, but then she got fired. And we were like, that's odd. That was odd. And then from that moment, she started to decline from there because she went from part-time. She was trying to look for different part-time jobs. And then she forgot to renew her nursing license.
Wow.
She forgot. And no nurse will ever forget something as important as your nursing license.
Right.
So it had expired when we looked into it for many years.
And she was still working? Was she still working?
She was still working I don't know how that even escaped. So with that, she started to decline and she started to stay home. And my brothers and I realized that she was progressing heavily into the disease. So we knew that at that moment, we needed to get our ducks in a row.
Mm.
We needed to get things because she was still able to have conversations. She still was
Hmm.
fine from
Right,
that
right.
perspective. I believe what they call it, sunset,
Sundowning.
sundowning. Am I using the right terminology? That's when it would really peak. But she was fine. She was able to have a conversation. Then we noticed when we would take her out for Mother's Day, when
Hmm.
she looked at the menu, she looked confused as if the words were moving and becoming jumbled, and she couldn't make a
Couldn't
decision.
quite understand it.
Understand what,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
the menu, I remember distinctly, we took her to Red Lobster and she could not order her own meal.
Something that was probably familiar with her, but now,
Correct.
hmm.
It was just beyond her at that moment.
Okay.
So, progressing forward, we had to come up with a plan.
Mm.
We had to
Hmm.
come up with a plan. This was foreign to us.
Okay.
We did not know anything. We didn't even expect something of this nature to happen
Mm.
to our
Mm.
matriarch.
Right,
You
right. The
know,
strong mother of the
the
family.
strong mother of the
Hmm.
family
Hmm. Yes.
came to this country with nothing, and
Hmm.
that really took a turn for our entire family. And I'm sure we're gonna talk more about that because the dynamics of the family also shifted because of the caregiving piece.
I'm sure. Hmm. Hmm.
So I'll digress from that point, but we became I became a caregiver when my mom started to decline in early stages when she was working, and then again seeing the behavior and
Hmm.
her actions and things that she was forgetting because her behaviors was also being noticed at the workplace, but
Okay.
no one was putting the two together. We were just thinking she was just being herself,
Forgetting or
like
just
forgetting. Yeah,
getting
she was young.
older. Hmm. Well, how old was she when she was diagnosed,
She
or
was
when this started
late
happening?
50s, late 50s.
Oh,
Not
very
yeah,
early.
very early, very
Mm.
early. And she
Hmm.
passed in her in 72. She passed at that. So she lived quite a while with it. But that
So,
again, that goes with the caregiving.
yeah, so that sounds like a long journey.
Very long.
So, you mentioned your dad was around and involved. So, were you the primary caregiver, the secondary?
I That is an excellent question, Dr. Paul.
Hmm.
So dad, so we all were not in the house. Brothers
Okay.
and I we were not in the house. We would come,
Hmm.
of course, like you always
Right.
go visit mom with the grandkids and so forth.
Hmm.
Dad was the primary caregiver. I have a
Okay.
twist to this story. Dad
Okay.
was the primary caregiver. Um, and he did not, again, he was from Jamaica, old school Jamaican man. I'm saying it, I lived it. I'm not being biased or
Hmm. Hmm.
stereotyping, I should say. He did not want to yield to the fact that she was sick. He
Hmm.
believed that she was making it up. She just didn't want to listen. He had all these things and did not yield to the fact that she was diagnosed. He did not understand
Mm.
what was going, because mom was the breadwinner as the LPN.
Okay.
She
Okay.
was the breadwinner at that time. And
Hmm.
he just could not understand it, and he didn't want to understand it, and he did not like the fact that he had to be the 100% caregiver. He didn't he it felt burdensome to him.
Right.
It
Not
was
used to taking care of the
overwhelming.
household.
Right,
Hmm.
yes, because no
Hmm.
longer, remember, she's not working. Breadwinner,
Right.
not working.
Mm.
So it's all on him, house, bills. Now, they're seniors, so whatever little social security that they're receiving. So
Hmm.
things have to be cut. And let me say this, Dr. Paula, my mom was working in convalescent homes as the
Okay.
LPN. So she's seen all of this. So during that time, while she was in her right mind, for a lack of a better term, she had opened up a policy so that the burden of caregiving was not
Hmm.
on the kids. But because when my dad became the primary caregiver, he
Hmm.
canceled that policy because the policy would have allowed us to put her in a home for care. And she had a very good policy because she's seen the effects of having that,
Ha-
having
take
that
care.
that insurance in place.
Hmm.
So when she canceled, or he canceled it, the broker came to the house and said, "Why did you cancel this policy?" The broker was so shocked they had to drive to find out. And then when he told them that she had that and he tried to recoup it, you
It
can't.
was
She's been
it was too late,
diagnosed.
right?
She was already diagnosed, so she couldn't get the that couldn't happen anymore. So that's where we became full-time caregivers, and the house became the nursing home.
Wow. Now, something very interesting, you said that she had a policy, and usually, in the Black families, my research was looking at African Americans and their whole caregiving experience. Usually, we don't put our families in long-term care, or our parents would say, "Don't put me in care, take care of me." So the fact that your mom had a policy and wanted long-term care was very interesting, wanted to be placed in a nursing home. It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, she
Hmm.
did. I'm wondering if it's because she worked in a convalescent home
Probably, and that's what I'm
and
thinking.
seen
She saw
the
the
and
effects.
took care
Mm,
of those patients and saw what was required
right, right,
because
right.
she tried to save us from what we went through. Isn't that
Absolutely.
something? The
Absolutely.
matriarch
Yes.
knew that, and she was trying to still be that just in case it happened to her. She tried to
This is
safeguard us, but when the chips were down, Dad was the caregiver.
mhm.
Money got tight,
Okay. And
and
so,
that was
yeah,
the first thing that went was that policy.
because he didn't see it as important.
He did
He didn't
not
see it
see the insurance as
as
important.
important. Okay. So mom is now full kind of dementia. The household has shifted and changed. You're all caregivers. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we all are caregivers. Dad is still primaries. Brother,
Okay.
we all like coming in, checking in, but not as hands-on. But then she continued to decline, and it was
Hmm.
becoming too hard for Dad
Okay.
because now we have to shower. Now she's
Mm,
wearing diapers. We have to cook her food. She's having accidents. She's doing bizarre activities,
hmm.
defecation, pulling the diaper down, and just going anywhere in the house, things that hiding the diaper, taking it off the soiled
Mm,
diaper, hiding
mm,
it in
hmm.
places we have to go like hide to go seek and find where's the smell coming from, hiding
Right.
food, tucking food, moving things. She would wear a hat. What was
Hmm.
so weird is like she knew something was wrong with her head,
Hmm.
so she found a sense of a security, like a security blanket, and she would wear a hat on her head as if she wanted to keep whatever little bit she had. She just would not take the hat off. I saw it as
Wow.
symbolic. I just kind of saw something with that, and she just would not release the hat as if she was trying to just keep what little she had in, or something she just knew in that circumference that something
Wow.
was wrong. So she would just continuously wear this hat to the point my
Hmm.
brother was tired of seeing her wear the hat. We would go get her hair done. He would hide the hat or whatever, but she just felt a need to keep
She
something
needed that
on her
hat.
head. On
Mm,
her
hmm.
head, where she
Right.
felt something was wrong. So the a level had some level of consciousness that something is wrong, but they can't
Hmm.
pinpoint it or articulate
Right,
what it
right.
is. So well, I did say there was a twist. So we found out that Dad had cancer, leukemia.
Ooh.
That's something to talk about as the
Mm.
primary caregiver. Who goes first? Dad ends up dying May 21st of 2018.
Okay.
Remember, mom is gone in 21. So he was the primary caregiver. He went first. That's also something that's interesting as well. So he
Absolutely.
yeah, it was just interesting to see how that decline started to happen as he
Yeah.
was the caregiver during
Hmm.
that time as well.
That's the reason why I'm doing this podcast because research shows that as a caregiver, especially as someone with dementia, the research, higher rates of stress, depression, anxiety, heart disease, morbidity, and mortality. So you're caring for someone and then you get sick and decline and then your health goes the next thing unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. So
So
now
I've seen
dad
that.
passes.
Dad passes, and
Hmm.
so for transparency, Dad was my dad. My brother and I share the same mother. So
Okay.
then now Dad passes, and then I have to move back in because I'm the girl.
Mm, mm,
So now I don't know if this is, something too, like the girl child moves in to
yes.
help the mom. So every mother always said, I need a girl.
The
Because then
majority of caregivers, of family caregivers, are daughters.
so I moved back home with mom to care for her, shower her. And I stopped working at that time.
Mm,
2020 hits and the
hmm.
world stopped. So it was almost like timely. So then
Okay.
I just picked up like a substitute teaching at the time. I did
Hmm.
not have my doctorate until 2020, June of 2020. So I had picked up I was doing, and the dad passed. That was traumatic. So
Hmm.
dad passed in 2018, and I was working at Berkeley College as a director of student development and campus life. And when dad was declining, I resigned from that to become a caregiver for him because I thought he
Mm.
was going to come home. He was admitted into hospital. He fell. Things were happening because of the leukemia. So I
Hmm.
recognized I needed to be a caregiver for both mom and
And
dad.
dad. Got
So
it.
I resigned December of 2017 to become that full-time caregiver for both. And then
Wow.
dad started to decline. So that was
Hmm.
1 year. And I picked up like substitute teaching because that was flexible, because
Hmm.
I just
Hmm.
have to wake up early and things of that nature to help keep a couple of dollars coming into for my family
Right.
and basic needs. So that took place, and then yeah, that's pretty much what took place with regards to the caregiving of both parents at that time until dad um moved on.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So your caregiving experience with your mom and dementia, tell us a little bit about that.
It was tough at times.
Hmm.
I had to say no a lot.
Hmm.
People would want to go out. I was like, no, I'm taking care of my mom. No, you
Okay.
could come over and, sit with me here. I could not do anything because it was almost like having another child. My father used to always say, is a Jamaican proverb, I believe, once a man, twice a
Vice a
child.
child. Hmm. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So it was a full-time thing. I had to change her diaper. I had to cook her meals, 3 meals. I had to take her, outside activities, keep her mobile.
Hmm.
All of the things, shop for her, everything, handle her affairs,
Hmm.
anything that to keep her going, her
Right.
comfortable and so forth. The home changed. We had
Mm.
to remove things like rugs, area rugs, and
Mm.
make sure she had a lounge chair and things that would help pull her up, and because she would need assistance. So it was very tough. I had no life,
Hmm.
um, for lack of a better term, because I could not do anything without. I couldn't leave the house. She couldn't be left alone. She could not be left alone at
Yeah.
all. And with the support of my brothers, it was tough for them as well. It was
Hmm.
tough from them from a perspective of not understanding. They didn't want to give mom a bath. That's like, that's mom.
Yeah.
I can't give her a bath. I can't
Yes.
wash mom. But
Hmm.
towards as they started to see the progression and um, to provide some help or respite for each other,
Mm.
someone had to relieve some of the duties off of the other. And
Hmm.
I learned of the Alzheimer's Association and recognized there were resources available for respite or things of that nature that was not told, and that was only
Yeah.
found through research. We had to look for those items. We don't know where to go to find. How do we find support for the caregiver? Because it's a mental strain. It's very
Yeah.
taxing, and
Yeah.
it's not easy because also with these types of patients, the things that they say, because now they don't have no filter. They say
Mm.
anything that
Hmm.
could be
Hmm.
you never knew that was in them because there's no filter. Like you and I
Right.
and everyone else, we know, okay, we don't have to say this, don't say this. The brain and the mouth are connected and they're listening to each other.
Yeah.
But with her or any
She's
patient,
anything goes.
anything goes.
Anything goes.
So
Hmm.
there were times that you have to temper, we had to temper ourselves and say, that's not her. Well, it's
Mm.
her, but we
The
can't get upset
things
at
that's
that. Yeah,
right. The
that's
things
just
that
what
she's
it is.
doing and saying. Hmm.
And that's what my father struggled with. He would
Hmm.
argue with her and not realizing she's not there cognitively, and he didn't understand the disease enough. He would just continue to argue, thinking she knew what was
Hmm.
happening, knew the conversation, because just like the argument took place 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes later, she moved on
Doesn't
from
even know.
that. But he's
So
holding on to that.
yeah. You just said that he didn't quite understand. And again, when I was doing my research, that's one of the things that kept coming up, that The family really doesn't understand the disease, how it works, how it affects the family. You go to the doctor, they don't really explain anything to you. And
No.
then another thing is the resources that you talked about. Not familiar with what resources are available, caregiver support groups, respite care. It's not readily available and accessible, or people don't know about it. So that's something that we have to do a better job of educating people, especially caregivers, of the resources and services that are available.
That is very true.
So, how has your caregiving journey experience changed you, influenced you?
That's a wonderful question in so many ways, Dr. Paula.
Mm-hmm.
Patience. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you have to be very patient. You have to be very patient. An advocate, for caregivers of all natures of anything that their parents or loved ones are going through.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to do our due diligence as well, because the doctors are not going to tell us anything. It
Yeah.
would be nice that the doctors will, once diagnosed, provide the association that would help us receive resources. Like, it should
Mm-hmm.
be in tandem. um,
Mm-hmm.
Doctors gives us all the medications and drugs, tell you take this, but where's the support groups? Like,
Right.
this is a toll. Can you just send us give us an opportunity to learn more about it, give us a website or a resource sheet? That would
Mm-hmm.
be helpful if doctors' offices would give a little bit more care to when patients are diagnosed with a said disease
Mm-hmm.
or a diagnoses, and provide a little more compassion
Support.
in the
Mm-hmm.
office space, but with the diagnoses, great or small.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so patience, advocacy, um, and just being a understanding with my own self-care,
Hmm.
because now that I know mom had such a disease, and I know
Mm-hmm.
dad had such a disease, now it's telling me to make sure that I'm okay. I'm
Mm.
I'm I'm healthy. Is
Right.
it going to come to me, or is it going to skip me and then go to my children? So now I
Mm-hmm.
have to think generational.
Mm-hmm.
I have to now vision cast and say, what can I do to make sure that I'm safeguarding, and that I don't put, just how mom had the insurance,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I need to be proactive just the same way to ensure that I have my ducks in a row, that my kids don't have to go through. Not that it was a bad thing, because my kids watched me as I cared for my mom. And I said to them, I said, you see how I'm taking care of grandma?
Mm-hmm.
You may have to do that with you. You may have to do that with me. They
Mm-hmm.
also chipped in with the caregiving. So
Okay.
it turned into a family affair,
I was going to ask about your
Yeah.
kids.
The
Mm-hmm.
kids
Because I know
also,
you said you moved back home. So.
yes, and they
Mm-hmm.
witnessed that. They were very caring all the way up until the last, because she passed in her home.
Okay.
And like I said, she passed in my arms, and that was unexpected, because she was talking and everything that morning, responsive. She knew her name. She
Mm-hmm.
Every time I called her name, she'll turn and say, "Good morning, how are you?" And it was just heartbreaking. But again, advocacy, patience, self-care, resilience, all of the things helped me during this journey. It was important, and I still take those things with me in all that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that caregiving journey was something that I will never ever forget. I will never forget. And
No.
very, especially to the end. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's something for me to share,
Mm-hmm.
because who knows who else is going through something like this, but just not speaking up or know where the
Right.
resources are.
And there are
Um,
so many in our community who are going through this, or at some point will go through being a caregiver or
I like
needing a
I like
caregiver.
how you said that. They
Hmm.
will. So how do we arm them to just be proactive enough to
Exactly.
at least have those, know about the
No.
resources?
Hmm. What advice would you give to caregivers or anyone who, may at some point be a caregiver?
Learn about the onsets, learn about the disease, learn about what can you do, learn about respite, because
Mm.
we also, self-care is important.
Hmm.
Self-care is important. You have to take care of yourself,
Hmm.
because remember, dad was the
The
caregiver, and
caregiver.
he passed first. He's thinking she was going to go
Right.
first. He used to say that he thought she was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
He went first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that he was going to go. We all don't know who's going to go,
That's
but
true.
in that instance, he
Mm-hmm.
thought she was going to go first because she had the diagnoses. He didn't think
Right.
he was going to go, but the
Mm-hmm.
caregiving must have wore him down as well from his own um, self care
Mm-hmm.
from what he was going through. So self care is it's super important. Advocacy, understanding what your loved one is going through,
Mm-hmm.
compassion. Um, yeah, those are the things that I would recommend. Oh, and also hold the doctor accountable. Have
Mm-hmm.
conversations. Speak
Mm-hmm.
to the doctor. Here's the diagnoses. What do they recommend? Is there anything holistic? What can you do to slow down the progress? What are
Mm-hmm.
the next steps? Because our doctors should have these avenues available for us. If you're providing the diagnoses, there should be also supports in that.
Right.
Go to
Mm-hmm.
support groups. Do your own due diligence because sometimes it may not be readily available
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Okay. So I know since this experience, you've become a volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association. What do you do? You want to tell us a little bit about that
Sure.
experience or? Mm-hmm.
So when mom passed, I was distraught, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what can I do to make a difference and help someone else along life's way? And
Mm-hmm.
by doing so, I said, well, join the association, the very association that um, is about the disease that she had.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember starting to donate to bring awareness. I volunteered the walks. I
Mm-hmm.
was attending the walks. I encouraged. I had a team. I did all the things, and then now there's a new coalition here closer to home. And now I volunteer to bring awareness. We just had a barbecue 2 weeks ago to raise funds for this said disease, and
Mm-hmm.
it's refreshing and rewarding to bring this information to communities that would never know. I
Yeah.
believe that in the urban communities is not really widespread or known, or
Mm-hmm.
even people would understand it or kick it off to old age. It's just
Mm-hmm.
aging that's happening. But in suburban areas, I think it's more broadcasted and supported, and resources are more readily available at their fingertips, but it's not in the urban areas because no one is talking about it or see representation for it. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
or hear the stories of people that look like them to
Absolutely.
support.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I've been through it, and this is why how I went through it, and the resources that was available to me was through this organization, and this is how I maintain my self care and my
Yeah.
family and sanity and so forth. And that's how I became associated with the Alzheimer's Association. Very good organization to support.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's, again, it's so important that we share information, especially like you mentioned in our community, because we don't talk about a lot of things that we need to talk about, you know? So, yeah, thank you for
Can I
that.
say that too? Also, from a cultural perspective, in
Mhm.
a Caribbean culture, usually you don't go out sharing your business. They like to keep things in the house. So we also have to think about from a cultural perspective, and also, from race, but also cultural. Some things are not taken outside of the home. So you
Yep.
would never know. And then being a active bystander, if you will, people
Hmm.
won't be able to say, well, here's some resources because I know what's going on with your grandparents. But
Mm.
you can't be. But if you know what's going on, you can be an active bystander and say, hey, I have a great resource for you to help your family out because I see that mom is this, that, and the other. But culturally, people like to keep things in the house.
You're so right. I ran into a situation like that maybe a few years ago. A friend's mom had a situation, and as soon as I saw her, I knew right away that she had dementia. And the friend had never mentioned anything, and I finally pulled her to the side and I said, I see your mom, but from experience. I knew what
Hmm.
she was going through. And I said, here are some resources, but she didn't want to accept it. She didn't want to, I guess, come to terms with it. But we have to share information.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It is a cultural thing. Don't tell my business,
Right.
let's keep it in the family, let's keep it
Mhm.
within the house. But if we don't share information and resources, we won't advance.
That's right.
We have to be proactive, as you mentioned, and advocate and share information and resources. So, yes, thank you for that. And thank you for letting us know more about the Alzheimer's Association.
Yes.
So, I guess one of my last questions is, as the CEO
Yes.
of the United Passaic Organization, and their mission is to help families become self-sufficient. How do you think your experience as a caregiver has influenced, shaped, guided your leadership skills?
Wonderful question, because I have a lived experience. I'm not giving a textbook response or something that I've read or anything like that. I'm legit giving a lived experience and showing them, modeling what
Mm,
I've been through and how I came out of it and
mm-hmm,
what resources were available and still are,
mm-hmm,
to help others, using my life as a backdrop for others to see, okay, if she went through it, I can go through it and still be successful, because what you're going through is temporary, right?
mm,
And there's it's going to be a time that you will be fine. You would rise out of the phoenix. So
mm-hmm.
you just have to endure for what they say, weeping endure for a
That night,
night.
right.
So with that in mind,
Mm-hmm,
you just have to go through what you have to go through. Things, as another cliche, things are is ugly before it gets beautiful. So
mm,
just to refine you, the things that I've been through,
mm-hmm,
from a caregiving perspective, personally, professionally, is all just to refine you and just
mm-hmm,
have you shining, sharpening your iron. That's all it is. And then it's to sharpen your iron to help someone else. You want to be
mm-hmm,
contagious with what you learn and teach and grow others with what you went through. So that's what I believe, my lived experiences is allowing me in my professional space to help
mm-hmm,
others be resilient, and don't let the chips, while the chips are down, to just frowse at you and you can't get through life.
right.
But life is not all peaches and cream at all. So you have to take the punches as you go. But get back up again. Get back up
Mm-hmm,
again.
mm-hmm.
And you can sojourn with someone else through the same journey, and be that support.
Yeah, it's a difficult experience, but you can get through it. And I think that's key to what you just said. So before we wrap up, any words of advice, anything you want to share with caregivers or anyone, who may be caregivers, any
Yes.
last words?
Yes, a couple of things. One, check to see, uh, make sure you have your all your ducks in a row from a advanced directive.
Mm,
That's important. Power of attorney. You
mm-hmm.
want to make sure that while the person once the diagnosis comes and they're still in their right mind, have those signatures in place,
Yep.
because that was something that we had struggled with as well. So you want to make sure that you have events directives. You want to make sure you have the power of attorney, all your legal
All
documents,
your paperwork and
banking.
documentation in order.
Yes, banking,
Absolutely.
making sure you
Mm-hmm.
have your name on the bank accounts, housing, all of those things are important, because once they are not in the capacity to make decisions,
Mm,
it becomes very difficult and messy, especially with family members.
mm.
And if there's no advance directive in place. So you want it, once those things happen, you want to make sure that all your legal documents are in order.
That's so important. That's such great advice. So important. Yes, yes. Thank you for that.
You're
I just
welcome.
want to leave with a quote, and it's something that we talked about. And this is by Rosalind Carter. She says, there are only four kinds of people in the world: those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need a caregiver. So at some point, our paths will cross caregiving, each and every one of us. And I just thank you for sharing your experience, sharing your words of wisdom and advice to those who will become one of the four. And just thank you for being the strong, resilient person that you are. You went through your experience and your journey, but like you said, you came out on top. And I'm sure it has made you the stronger person that you are. So thank you, Dr. Hall,
Thank
for
you so
being
much.
on the Beyond the Care podcast. We appreciate you. And again, take care of yourself as a caregiver, because if you don't take care of yourself, no one will. Thank you.